Pero bueno, dando inicio a esta actividad, agradecidísima con ustedes que se han conectado el día de hoy. Créanme que van a participar de un taller bastante lindo, pero sobre todo muy importante y con un sentido práctico que realmente en cada una de sus trabajos. Y don Álvaro, pues que está pensionado, sé que estas cosas siempre alimentan, no nos queremos quedar atrás y bueno vamos a tener esta experiencia tan bonita, pues ustedes conocen a los dos compañeros académicos, en este caso la profesora Silvia Saborío Taylor. Silvia es profesora de inglés y tecnología educativa. Silvia tiene en su formación el bachillerato en inglés, una licenciatura en enseñanza del inglés y cuenta con una maestría en tecnología educativa con énfasis en la producción de medios instruccionales. Actualmente está ya en la parte final de su doctorado en educación, que Dios mediante pues estaremos celebrando pronto que ya pues tengamos un PhD con nosotros también en la unidad académica y en la maestría, por supuesto. Silvia ha trabajado para la Organización de Estados Americanos, en la Universidad de Costa Rica, en la Fundación Omar Dengo, en el Colegio Maristas y desde el año 2009 hasta el día de hoy es compañera académica en la unidad de educología en la UNA y muy en particular, obviamente, y por eso ustedes la conocen y la tienen ahí a bien en lo que es la maestría, con el énfasis en el aprendizaje del inglés. Juan Pablo Zúñiga, también compañero muy querido en la unidad académica. Juan Pablo es bachiller en inglés, tiene una licenciatura en docencia universitaria y cuenta con una maestría en enseñanza del inglés como segunda lengua, como lengua extranjera. Juan Pablo ha trabajado en la UCR y desde el 2008 hasta la fecha trabaja con nosotros en la Universidad Nacional y muy en particular ha sido un colaborador siempre entregado, ¿verdad?, en la maestría en educación con el énfasis que cada uno de ustedes pues, ha obtenido en el aprendizaje del inglés. Cabe destacar que Juan Pablo tiene 3 años de ser editor de la revista Ensayos Pedagógicos, que es la revista de nuestra unidad académica de educología y que le ha dado un carisma bastante lindo, ágil y sobre todo dando ese carácter profesional eh, indexado últimamente que está ya virtualizando la revista, yo los invito además a aprovechar y si alguno tiene a bien tener por ahí algún artículo, pues que no dude en que puede mandarle a la revista Ensayos Pedagógicos que Juan Pablo, pues gentilmente y con su profesionalismo dirige para la unidad académica. A partir de este momento, tanto Juan Pablo como Silvia, pues yo los dejo para que el taller sea de inicio y que ustedes puedan sacarle todo el jugo. Pregunten, sáquenle el jugo a estas dos personas que tienen ahí. Hoy es el día para que los expriman bastante. Así que mucho gusto y muchas gracias por estar a todos y cada uno de ustedes. Adelante. Richie.
Thank you, thank you. Just a minute. Mhm. Just a second. So good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure for Juan Pablo, Rita, and me to have this space and to share with you with you guys after so many years. As you already know, we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of our master's program. I don't know if you have an idea, but 30 years ago, the master's in education started specifically with the emphasis on English learning. So that is a very valuable point And we are very happy. We are very honored to be celebrating these 30 years of having people in this process, forming educators with high qualities in the context of language teaching. And because of that, we decided that we still owe you. Um, so we decided to have this worship for you. Hopefully, it can become a rewarding space for you, somehow a space in which you can get to have valuable insights on how you can enhance your practice and your in terms of and your processes in the field of English teaching. So welcome everybody. As Rita just mentioned, my name is Silvia Saurio. I think I have got to know almost everybody here. So it is a real pleasure for me to be here with you today. Juan Pablo, I don't know if you wanna share something before
Well,
we
welcome
formally
again.
start. Mm-hmm.
And also, as Silvia was describing, our master's program was actually the first uh, master's program having to do with English teaching in Costa Rica. So we we came first, and we hope to stay relevant. So probably you have been bombarded with lots of information about AI, and hopefully we will try to answer some of your questions, probably help you come up with new questions, and also show you some possibilities that AI has to offer to the field of English language teaching.
And before we start, we have just shared with you a link for the presentation that we have for today. So it would be really beneficial if you could access to the presentation, because in the presentation we have some links that we are going to be using. This is not like a symposium. This is not a conference. This is a workshop. So that means that you are going to be having active participation throughout the remaining time that we have. And that's the reason why we want you to be accessing the links as we would be reaching into them. Uh, so for today, we have, I'm pretty sure that you all have been working with artificial intelligence. And from now on, this is never, I mean, a really outstanding topic, because no matter how you think that you are updated with the topic of IA, it will never be enough. Artificial intelligence is emerging constantly, is moving towards it constantly. So there's no way that we can get to say that we are fully prepared or fully trained in the field of artificial intelligence. So today we're going to be having a bit of hints in terms of how to use IA in a ethical way, in a smart way, in a creative and pertinent way. I'm pretty sure that you already have been using, as I could see that in the forms that you were like fulfilling when you were in the process of registering to the workshop. But sometimes when we talk about artificial intelligence, the first thing that comes up to our minds would be probably ChatGPT. And we surely have to go beyond one or two or three tools that we commonly use. So here's the chance for you to get to try different tools today. Probably some of you have already tried some of them. And since I said before, this is a collaborative space. So if we get to a point in which you might probably have other recommendations, go ahead. You're going to be protagonists of this process. So the microphone is also yours. Feel free to let us know whenever you need something to share. And as I said before, we really want this to be a collaborative workshop. So today we're going to be focusing on educational resources with artificial intelligence for fostering opportunities for English language learners. So the first section that we're moving into would be the introduction, which is over here. Yes, of course, our artificial intelligence is transforming the way we design and use educational resources. At least for me, in my experience, in my case, I have been having a totally different experience since I am using IA, and somehow I can say that I have become more efficient and more creative. Not because IA is doing things for me, but because I am working with IA as a pedagogical partner. Today we have some objectives, which is so we're hoping that by the end of this workshop, we will be able to understand IA in language learning and its role in designing educational resources, explore IA tools for English learning. We will have to rush on that because we have many different tools for you today. Design and adapt IA generated resources for diverse learners, and assess and integrate IA enhanced resources into teaching practices. So as you can see, this in every single section, we are going to be having a short window, giving like a brief idea of what the section is about. And here you will locate a hand that is taking us to the development of the section. Are you following the presentation by your own also? Yes?
Yes.
Let us know if you have any kind of trouble in the navigation or any other trouble you may face.
Everything is okay so far.
Great. Okay. So before we begin, okay, this is a bit of a part that we cannot skip. It is truly important to give an overview of this like great influence of IA, and specifically this IA influence in our context of language teaching. So we came up with 5 important elements or criteria that we thought that it would be important to highlight, and why not to discuss about that. Of course, there might be multiple other criteria that we could be talking about, but since we have very limited time, we are like focusing on these 5 elements. Juanpa, I don't know if you would like to start here.
All right, first we have personalized learning journeys. So when we deal with these new technologies, they can help us adapt resources to the place, interests, and needs of each learner. With this, we may promote learner autonomy as well as teacher autonomy. Of course, we need to be critical thinkers when we design materials. Of course, we're not going to let the tools work on their own, because we are the actual natural intelligence behind the artificial intelligence, guiding it, providing clear prompts and instructions and specific learning context so that we can produce usable, relevant learning materials.
Of course, enhance language exposure. And that's something that I have been using a lot ever since we have access to IA. I don't know if you might remember the videos that I used to create for the different courses you were with me. And I used to create all the videos from scratch. And trust me, that used to take me long hours because I was doing the design of the presentation, but I was also doing the part of the I was recording myself as part of the audio, and that really took me long hours because I wanted that audio to be as accurate as possible. And ever since I have the access to IA, it has like helped me a great deal in that, because now I'm using, for example, authentic input such as voice. So I turn like text to voice or voice to text, and that really helps me, not because I would say that it's facilitating my life, but if I was able to create one video in a month or in a week or 2 videos in a month, now I can say I can create even more than that because I have an assistant in creating voice. So it really helps a lot my students because it provides language exposure. I also remember many teachers constantly complaining that they wouldn't be able to have like conversations in their classes, like recordings, because they couldn't find like a conversation that would fit into the topics. So now I tell them, okay, go ahead and create a conversation. Give them the material. There's no reason why we shouldn't be exposing our students to language, to English language. Juan?
And well, pedagogy is about communication. Pedagogy is an act of communication. So the better we communicate with our students, the more learning gains they will get. So artificial intelligence can help us provide and deliver content in various ways. We can deliver the same message using different channels. For example, we can opt for using universal design for learning and consider various learning styles, preferences, even multiple intelligences. So we can generate audio, video, graphics, pictograms, uh, anything in a short amount of time, which is highly convenient for us busy teachers.
And of course, teacher empowerment rather than replacing teachers. And that is a constant like discussion that we always have here on campus. I would say that IA supports teachers by automating routine tasks, like the example that I gave you before about recording myself. And instead of that, now I use IA voice. So it offers creative tools for designing more meaningful learning experiences. So how do I feel empowered now? Because now I have more time. I can keep better track of my students' performance. Why? Because I have more uh, time thanks to like different tasks that I can assign or co-assign to the artificial intelligence. So somehow I feel very empowered because I do think that I can do more nowadays, now that we have access to IA. And last but not the least,
We can also consider equity and access to opportunities. So by adapting, customizing our materials, our students' learning experience, we can make more meaningful learning processes. So we can consider our students' individual differences, as I said before, for example, their learning styles. So we can also consider their needs, lacks, wants, and we can adapt the material, for example, as using a graded reading material or adapting the vocabulary, combining audio with text, and consider the background of our students by modifying the prompt so we can adapt this scenario, this task to this particular student population. So we can uh, use various prompts and generate more specific learning tasks and examine what the tools may give us, and of course revise what we were shown, and of course modify anything that needs changing.
So before we formally start, like the practical part of the workshop, um, taking into account these 5 aspects we have been mentioning, and of course, taking into account your experience, your daily practice, any theory you have had access to lately about IA. We have a challenging question for you because we would like to hear your experiences about this and your reactions about this. So considering these 5 powerful ideas about AA and in educational resources, how have you applied them to create meaningful opportunities for your own English language learners? If you have, I'm pretty sure that somehow you'll have already managed IA. So how have you applied them to create meaningful opportunities for your students? And the microphone is yours. Go ahead. Please let us know. Maybe you can raise your hand so we can keep an order. Erika.
Well, I think that now I'm in a very particular position because I teach very few students, but all of them are in different phases because I'm working with the IB programs. So they have like different phases, and sometimes I have like 10th grade and 9th grade in the same class at the same time. So I have used it a lot for differentiation. Like perhaps they are working on the same unit, but since all of them are at different phases, I need to do a lot of adaptations for each one of them so they can work on the same unit, but for something that works for them. And also, it has been a lot of doing like using AI for that for in order to adapt. Like for example, if we're reading a book, um, I can use something like Diffit, for example, which is an AI tool that helps me adapt the text that we are reading to the level of the student. And it also helps me like adapt the worksheets that we are doing and also allow them to work a little bit more on inquiry. So like
Mhm.
they can take like ownership of their own learning because I cannot divide myself into like 6 pieces, let's say. So it has helped me a lot in that sense. Also, like not only Diffit, but like ChatGPT. Like if you know how to structure the prompts and how to give it like the appropriate context and the appropriate idea, then it's great for you to do that differentiation that you need.
Of course, that is the key, creating an appropriate prompt. And so true. I mean, a few years ago, without IA, it would have been almost impossible for us to create multiple variations of one single resource in order to try to um, reach the different needs from our students. Maria Jose.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I have used AI to create a specific list, like specific audios for students. I
Mhm.
teach English for specific purposes, like in the UTN. So, and they know only they receive 6 levels of English. So, and we need to prepare them for work, especially definitely. So, whenever some of the majors we have authentic material from accounting, for example. But for instance, when I'm teaching food technology, because I also teach that course, English for food technology, the type of like when you reach to levels, the higher levels, level 5 or 6, to have material from that level and to teach them what they need to know and pronounce and understand, it sometimes require like it usually took me lots of like many hours to find material for them. But right now I just use AI to translate, to move from or like from text to speech, and then to find
Mhm.
material to create material specifically for that purpose, which has saved me a lot of time that I can use for other things that are also relevant. For instance, checking the writings in more detail or assigning more homework for that is like for to study specific things. So it's not like I have extra time. No, I can devote more time to other activities that are also part of teaching, right? But
Mhm.
this AI has saved me lots of time, like a lot of time, because I can use the tools. And I use this, what you were mentioning, Sylvia, like text to speech, also to readings, and so many things that has been so useful since I have had time like the to explore
Exactly.
it, because it also needs time, like you need to explore the tools.
Exactly. Yeah. And like get some practical manage of the tool. David?
Hello. First of all, it's great to see you two again. It's been a long time, so I really missed you too, actually. It's great to be here. You guys can listen to me loud and clear, right? I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, we do.
Okay. As Maria Jose, I think, was saying, it's a time-saving tool. So the most recent example I can think of is I use it when I cannot find other things and I create the activities from scratch. So the last example or the last activity I created was they needed to use models for speculations, for example, but I couldn't find anything meaningful or something challenging. And these are, let's say, advanced students. So giving them something boring or something generic, it was, let's say, off the table. So I created some activity related to, I don't know, like CSI kind of mystery. So where they could actually find the clues and the pieces, but I asked Chad to give me a really nice story or grab some examples like Sherlock Holmes or Agatha Christie, I think, so they could actually find or try to get to the correct answer. And that was pretty good. So Chad gave me all the prompts and all the let's say the um, diversions and also the right pieces so they could connect all the dots. And that was a pretty nice activity. They enjoyed that. But sometimes it is very difficult to find resources or sometimes you have to pay for them. So why not create those and have something really meaningful and that you can also improve. So that's the most recent example I can think of.
Which tool have you been using mostly?
Mostly chat, and there's one, I think it's School AI or
Okay.
what's the name?
Okay.
Magic School, I think.
Magic School, yeah.
And
Okay.
also Tui, but Tui I use it for videos.
Okay. Thank you, David. Jeff?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Because my microphone is from the camera right now. I don't have my microphone here, so it might sound a little bit weird. Well, in my case, I've been doing. I think you already know a little bit about what I've been doing. I don't know if Professor, I forgot the name of
Well,
Alejandra. I don't know if she has told you a little bit about what I've been doing, but well, since
Mariela.
no,
Oh,
Alejandra.
Alejandra. Yes, Alejandra.
So the thing is that since I saw virtual environments with you in your course, Professor Sylvia, I've been involved with them a lot. And I think they're very useful when you have students.
Learning landscapes.
It could be learning landscapes, or it could be
Okay.
learning environments, or it could be actually while the environment, as long as the environment is virtual and
Virtual learning environments. Yeah, go ahead.
it's fine. So the thing is that I've been involved with that, and then I started using artificial intelligence within them. And it has been kind of a challenge because exactly as David mentioned, sometimes you have to pay for it, but sometimes you just have to use a little bit of, I don't know, the system, I would say. Because what I did at the beginning, I started asking ChatGPT about different trivia questions. And then I went to Canva and did videos with those trivia questions. And I had like 400 videos just from that short activity that I planned out. That was at the beginning. After that, I didn't create it. I just programmed. I just told ChatGPT to imitate something, basically, and imitate a person. And then I asked my students to talk to ChatGPT, and they were having a conversation with a professional with, I don't know, 20 years of experience teaching English, and they could ask anything they wanted. The ChatGPT was actually talking to them because there's a space that you can actually interact with your voice rather than just typing. So I use that way. I also use Sora with my students because they said that they don't have any type of creativity. So I ask them to type things, write them down, or whatever they want to do, and then upload them into Sora so they can create something like an image or a graphic or whatever, which is part of ChatGPT as well. I've also used one that it's to create videos in which you talk or you upload an audio, and then you can create an avatar, and then the avatar explains the things, so you don't have to show your face. I forgot the name of that one, but yeah, I've been exploring those and involving them into the virtual environments because I think that it could actually help. And right now I'm working on one that I was talking to Professor Alexander. The thing is, my computer does not support the process, and I have to find other ways to work on it. But I'm working on an assistant that could provide feedback when students are talking to them. So for example, let's say that they have an activity in which they have to pronounce, I don't know, apple. And if they pronounce something like apple, then it actually provides them feedback and say, okay, you pronounce it wrongly. The thing is that we're working on it because right now there's no recognition for the accent itself because it brings the voice to words and then it provides feedback based on what it could understand from the words. But yeah, that's the latest project that I'm working on. So yeah, that's how I've been like using ChatGPT and all the AI so far to help them try to understand different topics related to English. And at the same time, I encourage them to use it and not to just cheat with it because I've had some students that they just ask ChatGPT to do everything, right? For example, I asked them to create an essay, and they just ask ChatGPT, please create an essay based on this topic, and then they give that to me. In that case, what I do is that I tell them to actually find information using ChatGPT rather than asking him or her or whatever they have as an assistant to do all the work. So yeah, that's basically my experience so far with it.
Sounds like you have been busy. And we also have
Did
Alanis.
Alanis raise her
Alan?
hand?
Yes, I did actually, but I had problems with the audio. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
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 Okay. So yes, I actually have experience with artificial intelligence. And let me say that it's like a new world for me, to be honest, because I have found a lot of things to do there, especially for the listening skill with my students, because for me it was very difficult to get audios in the context in which I need them, which is related to hospitality and tourism for my students, and all of them are, for example, adults. So they are not kids and they need something more similar to real life scenarios. And so this website, 11 Labs, I don't know if you have used that, helps me a lot to do that. So I can create, for example, the audio, and then I use the voice that they have there, and it's for free, so it's perfect for me in that case. But I have also used ChatGPT, especially, for example, with one of my students, because she needs like a special adaptations because she doesn't know how to read and write. So it's kind of a challenge for me to like teach her English when she doesn't know how to do that. So it's kind of my advisor sometimes. And also you can learn from ChatGPT about, for example, if you have the idea about a specific activity that you want to develop with your students, but you are not sure how to do it, ChatGPT can give you advice about how to, maybe for a specific student, you can like develop the activity.
Thank you, Alanis. And we can say that it is for free today because tomorrow we never know. That has happened to me a lot with
Yes,
many different
exactly.
apps.
But I have like a cheating code. Sorry, but what I do is
Yeah,
that I have multiple accounts. So when I
uh,
don't have like the opportunity to get it for free, I use the other one.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, actually, yeah, most, if not all of these tools are based on a freemium model. There are free accounts and premium accounts. Some of them are more generous than others. And yeah, sometimes you um, start using one and you really like it, and then uh, they say, well, we will be closing all free accounts. You have to pay for it. And so Our challenge, perhaps as teachers, is to develop skills to familiarize ourselves with the logic behind each of these tools. How do we get them to work? How do we um, make them serve our purposes, our needs? And regardless of the tool, we should develop the necessary skills um, to make the best out of them, no matter the tool we're using. Like you mentioned, we can sometimes try strategies like opening different accounts. Maybe you have tried using a VPN, because sometimes some of these tools say, oh, you have a limited amount of content or characters per day. So what I have done is use a VPN. So I change my location now. Now I'm going to be telling the tool I'm in Asia, now I'm in Africa, now I'm in Europe. And so I keep on getting free content out of it.
Mm-hmm. And of course, something that we're going to having great emphasis today is that they are they are like tools, but they are not a replacement for what we do. They are not a replacement for our knowledge. They are not a replacement for our critical thinking. So somehow we have to perceive artificial intelligence, whichever tool we are using, as a pedagogical partner. We have to be in a position in which we can like argue with the artificial intelligence. We can question the artificial intelligence, and we can have the certainty that we can also always modify whatever the artificial intelligence might be suggesting, because our experience and uh, the way that we approach our context on our students, it's a knowledge that is unique for us. So throughout the workshop, we're going to be focusing on that. And we're going to be starting. So first, we're going to go to the section of the multi-tools, which is over here. So if you can all go with us to multi-tools, right next to introduction, on the top of introduction. So we're going to multi-tools. So IA-powered comprehensive tools integrate multiple functions, allowing educators to create diverse and interactive English learning resources. I think David was mentioning one of the multi-tools. I think one of the most relevant or popular multi-tools, which is Magic School. So these tools streamline the design process by offering features such as text generation, multimedia creation, assessments, adaptive learning support, enhancing both efficiency and engagement. There are multiple options that we can get out of the multi-tools, and that is the reason that they are called multi-tools, because of the diversity of resources we can create out of a single specific tool.
Yeah, like you mentioned, probably most of you have been using, say, specific AI tools or chatbots. They were specifically trained to do particular tasks. For example, there are text-to-speech tools, chatbots, mind mapping tools. But when it comes to multi-tools, they provide you with lots of, say, modules, templates, formats that that you can use to produce various kinds of contents. Of course, you could generate all that with a regular chatbot. You can have it paraphrase a text or generate a text, create an image, and so on. But when you have this particular modules, they have been trained to do that particular task. So that's probably more convenient because you will get more consistent results. So you can get feedback for your own writing. You can generate lessons, rubrics, images, quizzes, and many more.
Probably most of you have already used Magic School. Have you? Well, David, you have already used. The rest of you, have you been using Magic School?
Yes.
In my case, I
Some
have.
of you. Okay, some of you have, some of you haven't. Okay, let me get there again. I prefer Teams because I can go from one window to another one easier. Just hold on a second, please. So for Magic School, it is mostly for free. It is a multi-tool. You have to create an account, of course, and it has a great variety of resources you can create out of the tool. Actually, here you can see my favorite ones. This is, for example, with my students with in practicum, we use a lot the lesson planning one, worksheet generator, multiple choice quiz assessment, rubric generator, as Juan Paulo was mentioning, text translation, song generator. But it's not going to create a song itself. What it is going to create would be the lyrics of the song. I mean, I haven't even get to try them all because it's a lot of options. So sorry, I think I've been a bit sick. So um quote of the day, sentence starters, real world connections. This is a real one because sometimes our students are like presenting some kind of lack of motivation. Once I was like modeling a class, and we were talking about Abraham Lincoln and the Proclamation of Emancipation. And nowadays, students might not be as like attached to historical events, or they might not even understand the relevance of historical events. So I think that this real world connection might be very significant for purposes like that. For example, you can say, explain. Oh my gosh, sorry, I need some water.
All right. In the
Explain.
meantime, for any of these tools and Magic School, probably you see that there's this button on the right that says exemplar. So, for example, if you're unsure how that module works or what kind of output you can expect from it, you can click on exemplar, and Magic School will provide you with an example. So you say, oh, okay, this is what it is about. So you can create your own.
Mhm. So this is a way that you can explain your students. So if they get to complain, why do we have to get to see about the Proclamation of Emancipation if it was so many years ago? Okay, because there's like a relationship with social justice today. And I mean, you can provide them with different examples, and if not, you can go ahead and try to create a song out of it by using the same Magic School. It's been, I think this has been pretty helpful, and I have seen that with my practicum students, for example, when they have to create, when they have to constantly create different types of materials. So it's very beneficial. For example, informational texts. I really like this one. For example, let's say expository. I want explain. So we can say explain conditionals. Zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and third conditional. Okay. As of course, as Erika was mentioning a few minutes ago, the key on artificial intelligence would be the type of prompt that you are providing. So the more accurate product that you want to get, the more accurate the prompt has to be. right now, since we do not have like a lot of time, I'm gonna be having very brief prompts. But based on a simple prompt like this one, we can get to generate, and we can get to have like a text that can clearly explain the difference of conditionals. I know that sometimes we can get this information from the internet, but in some other cases we might not get accurate information in certain with certain information. So the key about in artificial intelligence and these tools like multi-tools is that you can get to have more personalized products. Now, in terms of ethical use of artificial intelligence, this should not be the final product that you present to your students. I would say that it totally needs a lot of drafting for you. You need to analyze if the information is accurate for you, for example, for the learning purposes, for your students' needs. You have to make a revision if it fits into the level, for example. So once again, artificial intelligence in this case has to be only a pedagogical partner that is going to be providing you of certain assistance. But your role, your responsibility as facilitator of information has to be imperative in this case. Going back to the presentation, Juanpa, I don't know if you want to say something.
Yeah, there's as you were mentioning, there's a warning here. Because, for example, yeah, AI is overly complacent. So, and this has happened to me lots of times. I write something, I would like to write a story about this, and then the chatbot tells me, "Oh, yeah, that's great. You're so creative." And sometimes you start believing and buying all that. So I say, "Oh, no, I do recognize I may have good ideas, but I don't think I am that good. So AI is terrible at giving you feedback because AI believes everything you do is perfect. So you need to be careful when receiving that kind of overly optimistic feedback. Also, if you have no way of telling whether or not the information AI is giving you is valid and reliable, if you have no way of comparing and contrasting what AI is giving you, you should probably abstain from using it. Do not believe in everything it tells you. I don't know if you have heard about artificial hallucinations. So, chatbots or any AI tools are not perfect. They don't know everything. But when you push them to a certain point and they run short of information, they will start making it up. That's an artificial hallucination. If they don't know something, they will make it up. So sometimes you ask the chatbot, okay, I would like to have a list of references about this topic that I'm writing about, and it gives you, oh, there's this book, there are these articles, but you go and Google that, and you say, well, but this book was never published. Neither was this article. So where did all this information come from? And it was just invented by the chatbot. So you need to be careful. Also, sometimes you don't get the product you're expecting, and when it comes to AI, everything comes down to good prompts. So, for example, Magic School has a tool called Prompt Assistant, so it can also help you come up with more accurate prompts, so you can polish your skills as a prompt maker.
As for TWE, this is a very good one. When I first read about TWE, it was a multi-tool that was highly recommended for language teachers. Sorry, I have a candy because of my cough. And it was highly recommended. So when I first started using Twee, it was on the beta version, so almost everything was for free. And as you can see now, it's not for free. There's a lot of options that are now paid, so you would have to upgrade to Pro. So normally my recommendation with multi-tools would be like your first option could be Magic School, because so far it's been free in most of the options that they offer. But don't get used to it, because once they have reached a specific number of users, they would instantly change the conditions. And from one day to another one, it would be highly possible that they become a paid apps. That, as I told you before, Twee is a very good one because it focuses on skills and micro skills. So, for example, we can have a special emphasis on reading, vocabulary, writing, speaking, grammar, and that is something that other multi-tools may offer, but not as a specific as this one. Another thing that I found is that the free version now is also limited. So, for example, I have here a create a text on any topic or vocabulary. So let's say simple past versus past continuous. Okay. So target vocabulary, let's say accidents. And you can go ahead and create you do the magic, as they say. So so here you have the text that somehow you could be presenting to your students. The very good thing about Twee, and something that I really like, is that it provides like even more options to create, to keep on creating. So for example, if you already have a text that you're going to be presenting to your students, like let's say if you want to focus on grammar and reading, the app is also suggesting other type of activities that you could create. For example, a sentence with target vocabulary, communicative situations. I have found that not always all of them are like available, but you have to keep on trying. Okay, for example, this one needs an upgrade, but there might be other ones that could work out. Let me see if we're lucky enough. Oh, okay. For example, this one, find discussion questions. So simple, same topic, do the magic, and we keep on creating. Okay. So as you can see, how do you usually feel when you hear about accidents in the news? So somehow your students are going to be using the simple past and past continuous, and so on and so forth. As you can see, the app is going to keep on suggesting more activities that you could be creating. However, as I said before, this is limited. I have to use different accounts for this one because even the free version is very, very limited. But still, as I said before, this cannot be a copy paste thing. This cannot be a copy paste matter thing to do. I mean, I think that if you're going to be using this text, we have to, okay, copy it and paste it. We have to see if the content is accurate, if the vocabulary is also accurate to your students. You might want to see if you want to highlight other keywords in the text. You might want to analyze if you might want to change like some structures, for example. You might want to think about different learning styles that you have in your classroom. So for example, rather than only presenting like a plain text, you can also present a text with different suitable images that can also illustrate, and somehow you would be assisting your visual students. And that would be for 3. I don't think I mean, we won't have time to go and have a modeling for all the tools that we have because we do not have the time for that. But here you have the presentation and you have like the Teachy is another one similar to Magic School. And Camingo, I don't know if you have heard about Khan Academy, which is very popular nowadays. And actually, if you have social media, they are investing a lot of money nowadays. So it might be very possible that if you're using your Instagram, for example, you might see some marketing about Khan Academy because Camingo from Khan Academy. So this is the invitation for you to go ahead and give it a try and do the exploration. As we heard, some of you have already tried Magic School, some others have already tried Twee. What about Teachy or Camingo? Have you tried them? Have you had the chance to?
Not yet.
Not yet, but you will. Okay. Yeah, actually, we had a challenge for you, and we wanted you guys to choose one of the IA tools and create like a resource that could be tailored to one of your classes or one of your coming classes. But I'm not really sure that we might have time, so I'm thinking that maybe we can go on and by the end of the workshop, maybe you can go back and choose one that you really like or one that really calls your attention, and maybe we can do some collaboration on that.
And actually,
So we're gonna
sorry, and these tools will help you save time, but remember that does not mean that you're going to be using these tools to generate content 5 minutes prior to your class and then use that as it is, because you're not sure if the content you're receiving is accurate. So you should always revise, adapt, rearrange elements so it really suits your students' needs.
in terms of visuals, now we're moving to the visuals segment, and this one might be my favorite one. So visual tools allow teachers to create engaging graphics, concept maps, illustrations, and taking into account that now we're living in a visual society. Most of our students nowadays from recent generations are very visual, so somehow we have to be reinforcing the delivery of contents through visual channels. So there are different IA tools that are very useful. We have the IAEs, Napkin, Mapify, and Recraft. Have you been using them? Do you know them? If you do, which one? Mariela, have you? Probably you have.
No, I haven't. I haven't had a
No.
chance. I know about them, but I haven't been able to use them yet.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have used napkin before.
Okay. I have to say the napkin is my favorite one ever. And I have been using it a lot.
Even the name was carefully chosen. Probably have seen that in movies or sitcoms that people start sketching ideas on a napkin. And then like good
Wait,
projects sometimes begin as a sketch on a napkin.
probably we all have done that at certain point of our lives, right? Haven't we? So the first one would be IAEs. This one is not totally free, but somehow they provide you daily credits. And as far as when it comes to my experience, I have been able to work with the daily credits that they provide. So I have been using it a lot, and trust me, a lot, because I have been creating learning landscapes, and for my learning landscapes, I really need specific type of photos. For example, the last learning landscape, last first, I had a pedagogical metaphor about a bicycle, and the color palette was with oranges. So I really needed an educational context with a teacher wearing orange, and I needed to have a bicycle in the classroom. So the only way that I could get a photo with those elements was to create it by my own with the assistance of artificial intelligence. So this I started using IAEs a lot. It has a lot of options, but if you go to the I image generator, you would find this um, possibility. These are some that I was creating for another course that I needed, like an ET coming that was coming to planet Earth, and suddenly she was like having her first encounter with the term inclusion. But this is one that I wanted to tell you about. Um, here, you might want to be very, very careful with the prompt, because I'm pretty sure that you have heard that artificial intelligence is very biased. And trust me, here I have proven that it is totally, totally biased. So, usually when you ask the IA to provide, when you give the description, and I said, I want 4 female students, and I want a teacher with an orange shirt, normally they are going to, well, or at least this one is going to give you the same pattern of people. So taking into account diversity and inclusion and equality, it was a challenge for me last semester to create photos with different types of teachers, with different characteristics, as well as the students. At some point, I had to tell the IA I need Latin American students, and still the IA wouldn't understand what I meant by Latin American. At some point, I remember once I had to type, I need them to be like Mexican students. Can you believe that? Um, so it is very biased. So you really need to like create different types of photos. And in that process, you have to be very aware of how you're creating the prompt in order to try the artificial intelligence to be so biased. But once that you get to understand how our artificial intelligence works out, you would get, or you will be able to get like better quality of photos and more suitable according to your needs. Okay, let me jump to another one. Okay, here I have 13, but they usually give you 5 bonus. 5 bonus per day, which is enough. So I wouldn't say that you might need to have to upgrade your account for this. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next one.
And of course, you can also try generating images with other tools. I have tried them even with Meta AI on WhatsApp. There's Gemini, Microsoft's Copilot. Yeah, as Silvia was saying, when you try to generate something specific from like I tried generating content, and I told the tool, okay, could you picture a classroom setting from Costa Rica, and it totally looked like America. So, in what universe is this Costa Rica? I believe there's enough information online for a chatbot to know what Costa Rica is, what Costa Rica looks like.
So napkin, the one that I told you that is my favorite one, and well, Erika, you already know that one. Erika, I don't know about you, but I just found this today. They are done with the beta phase. And now I think that they are going to have different options from now on. So be ready for that. They still have an option, a free option, but let's get ready for any kind of surprise in the coming days. So in napkin, okay, as you can see, this is kind of a format of a book, a notebook. So I am inserting here, or wait, let me see my library. Conditionals, I have here conditionals. So this is a text that I created in Magic School. I asked Magic School to provide a text about the conditionals in order to try to explain the difference in conditionals. So once that I have the text, I would copy and paste it here, of course, after I have done the revising of the information in the text. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the information, because now I am going to turn this textual information into a graphic. How do I do that? We go here to the Thunder, and we are going to start. We're going to wait for a few moments, because also it is going to give us like different options. So as you can see, remember, okay, we have also different visual or learning styles in our classrooms. So you might want to present the whole text, but you might also want to present a graphic in order to summarize, because you might want to assist your visual students. So as you can see here, we have different types of graphics that you can freely choose. For example, this one over here. I have one over here. You can always edit the colors. Here we have another one. You can even ask your students to create their own. They can even they can even have access to the tool, and they can even get to create the one that calls the best their attention, because probably this one might be like relevant for me, but maybe not for Juan Pablo. Juan Pablo might prefer this one in terms of his metacognition. So this is very, I really like this one. So for example, if I get to choose this one, you can always edit, because remember that we have to go through that revising stage. It's not what the IA offers, not what the IA offers has to be the final product, okay? Your decisions are always the final product about the educational resources. So here you are free to edit whatever you need in order to make the information more appropriate. So for example, I have another example about the simple past and past continuous. So I have this text about explaining the difference between the simple past and past continuous. So I'm going to try to look for another type of visual for my students. And here we are. Okay, so for example, I have this option. I have another type of option. Look how many different options you get to have in a matter of seconds, okay? But again, that doesn't mean that your job is done here. It's not simply a copy paste. You need to be constantly verifying the type of information that you have over it. So let's imagine that I'm choosing this one, and based on this one, the chosen one, there are different styles. So you can get to choose different styles about the image that you preferred to choose first. So once that you have it, you can upload it. You can upload it here, export it, PNG, and you would have it ready for your personal and academic uses.
Yeah, that could be part of a handout, a slide in a presentation, a transition in a video, uh, just an illustration and a learning platform. Just yeah, it's your challenge to find the best way to exploit the graphic organizers that you can generate with this tool.
And the other one that I find it very relevant is Recraft. I haven't found any like important disadvantages. On the contrary, I think it's a very friendly one. I have been using it a lot. For example, once I was illustrating how to create a story by using Magic School, and the story was about the use of the simple past, past continuous, and past perfect. So we created the story in Magic School. And now, once that I had the story ready, I thought that I needed to illustrate the story. So I went here and I tried to create a new project. And the tool is going to offer different types of options. Normally, the ones that I would suggest would be image or image set. So for that specific story, I was choosing image set because in here, the tool can get to create 6 images that are going to be related to each other. So first one, in this one, you're going to be having some kind of keyword. So for example, I was using Jenny was riding a bike. Suddenly, and in the second one, suddenly, dog ran across the street. So once that I had all of them, I came up with a product, which is this one that I have over here. So she was riding her bike. A dog ran across the street. She fell down, etc., etc. So all the images were highly pertinent to the story that we were providing to the students. And the most important thing is that all the images are related in terms of graphic design. They have the same type of design. They have the same color palette. So if you want to have better quality in the type of images that you are inserting into your resources, this is a good way to have them. For example, the presentation that we are having right now, as you can see, the color palette is based on the red and grays, right? And I didn't find highly valuable resources or photographs on the internet because that sometimes takes time. So I had to create them myself with the use of Recraft. So here I chose, and for example, here it was artificial intelligence and a cell phone, artificial intelligence and a computer, artificial intelligence and a laptop, artificial intelligence and a TV, artificial intelligence and a book, artificial intelligence and a board. And it came up with these images that became relevant for the in terms to illustrate the presentation, the one that we are using right now, in the way that I wanted, that I was picturing the graphic design of the presentation. If you refer you have a limit of credits, but if you refer the app to your friends, you would earn credits. So that's a very highly piece of advice.
And you also can think of the pedagogical potential of a set of related pictures, because you can have it as an arranged story, but you could rearrange them and tell the students, okay, can you create a story based on these images? You may need to place them in the correct order. Or yeah, that could be a writing task, that could be a speaking task, or you could generate more ambiguous pictures that can be more subject to interpretation, and perhaps encourage your students to use their creativity to create stories or have conversations.
Ileana, hello. How are you?
Hello, happy to be here. Thank you
It's
for
great
sharing
to
your
see
knowledge.
you.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so, okay, those are for visuals. We hope that you can get to use them. Okay. Are you interested in trying one of these apps?
Yes,
Yeah.
the napkin, it caught my attention, especially
Oh, yes.
because you recommended, and also the professor Juan Pablo as well.
You know that I have been writing some articles lately, research articles, and data collection. I have been using Napkin in order to, you know, the typical graphics when you get to read an article, right? That they come from PowerPoint or even Word. And now I am creating the data collection from Napkin, and they really look like high quality and totally different. Okay, Mapify, we are not going to be modeling Mapify because Mapify is we were yesterday, Juan Paula and I were discussing if we should just delete Mapify from the list or just keep it. And finally, we decided to keep it. Right, Juanpa? Why did we decided to keep it?
Yes. Sometimes, yeah, things can change overnight, and now, yeah, there are no free accounts, but probably just looking at the content could inspire you to and help you go in other directions, new directions, and probably try a different or similar tool. Because now that there are web pages where you can find alternatives. I think there's a page called Alternative to, and you can write, okay, Alternative to, and probably see if there are other tools that may resemble Mapify. There's also a web page called There's an AI for that. And you can look at the categories. Okay, I'm trying to generate a mind map. Okay, let's see what the internet has to offer. I also remember that there used to be a wonderful tool, like they say, when something is free, that means you are the product. There used to be well, it's still a great tool, but $50 a month is probably out of my budget. There was this video making tool called Biteable, and they had even the free accounts had this wonderful templates so you could generate animated presentations. You included your own text, and everything looked so coherent and nice that you could publish on YouTube. But now they became greedy, and now everything has to be paid for.
I guess eventually they will, but you know that they get to create about 100 apps per day, IA apps. So if you ever get to see that, for example, napkin is paid, you just have to move on and do some research because there will always be something that might be similar to. And that's something that you should also be open-minded from now on, that you need to do a lot of research about IA. So now that for example, IA is, if now I have 5 credits per day and I need more than that, so go ahead and try to look other alternatives because you just have to Google for them, but there will always be other alternatives. Now we're gonna go to interaction, okay? By the way, Ileana, we were sharing the link for this presentation. Do you have access to the presentation, Ileana's? I don't know if the link is visual.
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay, here you go.
Thank you.
There you go. Let me know if you can get to see it in the chat. Because as a matter of fact, the presentation has already the links, so you can access the different sites directly. Okay.
I
So
got
the
it.
other one is great.
Thank you.
Okay. It's a gift for you all, the presentation. Okay. And thank you for being here. So IA-powered interactive tools create dynamic learning experiences by enabling real-time conversations, role-playing scenarios, and immersive storytelling. So these tools truly help English learners to practice English with other people rather than the teacher or classmates, for example. So we are suggesting two different tools, which is Character IA and IA Dungeon. Have you used them so far? Have you tried them? Not yet? Okay. They are
Not
for
yet.
free. Okay. Or they used to be free, at least this afternoon. Just let me see. Okay, I'm gonna go to Character IA. Just hold it a second. Okay. So we have here character IA. So the idea is that you have here like imaginary characters, but even though if they are imaginary characters, in most of the cases, they try to be as realistic as possible because they were created with certain characteristics in order to resemble or represent a specific person. So for example, I have here my own. I haven't tried it yet with my students, but I have mine here. So I have one called Teacher Sylvia. I still need to create an avatar to insert the avatar here so the my character can resemble even more just as me. So the idea is that I would give some like input to the character. So the character might somehow be like performing in a way that I would do with my students. This is another one. I found an English teacher because we were with my practicum students. We wanted to rehearse how students could interact with other people, as I told you before, rather than the teacher. So we found an English teacher, and this is like a trial that we were having. So the English teacher would say, "I am Tom. I am Native American. Can you speak with you can speak with me about everything." So we said, "Okay, hello, teacher. Can you help me practice conditionals in English?" So he said, "Sure, here's an example for you." So whenever you have free time with your students, or whenever you consider that that type of interaction could be suitable into the lesson planning, Character IE might be a very good option, which is also for free. For example, Abraham Lincoln, I was telling you about a class that we have about the Proclamation of Emancipation. So we were doing this modeling about trying to talk to Abraham Lincoln. Now, students do need to know that this character is not 100% for real, right? Because obviously he's dead. But they need to know that there's some kind of proximity to how this character would act in real life time, right? So they need to be aware about that because it's also part of the critical thinking. So these are kind of questions that they were asking me to tell him. So we were asking like simple questions. Did you sign the Emancipation Proclamation? Yes, I did sign it. Where did you sign it? I signed it in my study at the White House. This is the type of information that our students can get in a book, in a history book. But if we want to promote, for example, intrinsic and even extrinsic motivation, we can foster them to even ask extra questions that they would not find in a book. So, for example, that's what we were trying. What were you dressing? Probably they have seen pictures about that, but it's highly possible that none of the books are going to mention, okay, Abraham Lincoln was dressing like this and that. So, okay, in this case, he said, I was wearing a suit. Then we ask him, were you nervous? What was crossing your mind? And he answered, I was a bit nervous. So this question was very important at the time that we were doing a modeling, because some of the students were mentioning, but he was the president of the United States. How come he was so nervous about it? And it was like, so we started having like impromptu conversations about a historical moment in time that if we hadn't been chatting with Abraham Lincoln, probably we wouldn't have come up with this idea. So the invitation is for you. Give it a try. I don't know. Maria Jose, if you have a specific topic, maybe you can look for an instructor about food or something like that, right? So that they can get to ask even technical questions. And again, information might not be 100% reliable. But what we're intending to do is to motivate our students, to give them the chance to interact, to practice the language in the end, right?
And those characters have been created by other people. You could also try and create your own. And of course, you need to input some information so you can create the personality, or if it's a historical character, okay, yeah, make sure you're writing the full name so the tool can identify and retrieve information to answer questions.
Or create yourselves. Go ahead and create yourselves so they can get, I mean, if even when they are not with you, they can still go on and chat with you. Okay, so that might be another possibility. So basically the IA dungeon goes like in the same way. I guess that based on my experience, I prefer character IA because it has more characters and it even has more formal characters. So especially if you have like adults, I would think that character IA might be more suitable. But give yourselves the chance to go ahead and try both of the options, so you can get to have your own perspective of which one might better suit your needs. In terms of assessment, okay, I mean, there are a lot of powerful tools that can help us in assessment. Even the multi-tools that we were addressing at first, for example, TWE, Magic School, you can get to have rubrics out of those multi-tools, right? But there are other tools that can get to have other different and unique characteristics. So for example, CoGrader, I think I'm not going to be modeling because of time, but CoGrader is similar to, for example, the rubric creator that you might find in Magic School. So you access to CoGrader and you can get to create a rubric based on different criteria, or the IA can even suggest criteria. So in a matter of seconds, you can create a rubric. But the one that I really wanted to teach you or to share with you is brisk teaching. Have you been using brisk so far? Lucrecia, yes. What's your opinion about brisk?
Well, Brisk is, hello everybody. Brisk is very useful because Brisk is actually, I do not use it as an app, but I use it as a Chrome extension. So I can create a lesson out of any website that I am using. For instance, in my, I don't know, reading skill classes, if we're reading about something, I can take an I don't know, an article from the New Yorker or any other magazine or journal, and I can create a lesson out of it. I just ask you, as you've been saying, the AI, the things that I need to do, and it does it.
Have you used it to grade? or to help you
No,
grade?
not to
No.
grade, no.
Okay. So as Lucrecia was mentioning, it's an extension, a Google extension. So it is not an app. But once that you get once that you get to install the extension, there are, I mean, marvelous things that you can do with Brisk. So for example, if you are visiting a website, you can ask the extension to create a summary, a presentation. But the one thing that we wanted to share with you today is how Brisk can also help you in the assessment processes. So give me just a moment. So for example, I have here, let's say that I have here a lesson plan that I need to check. Okay. Sorry, this is one of the tasks that I have. So imagine that I need to check this lesson plan based on my rubric. Okay. Let's say that this is my rubric. I'm going to share my rubric with you. Just a minute. So you can see the lesson plan right now, right? Okay. I'm going to paste the rubric here. So, okay, so this is what I'm going to be using to assess the lesson plan. The table, the mediation strategies, resources, connection, etc. Okay, so I'm gonna copy that. Okay, and I'm gonna delete it. Okay, so now I need Brisk. I'm gonna ask Brisk to help me do the assessment here. Okay, so can you see the extension here? Here's my extension, my Brisk extension, right? In the right lower corner, right? So I am going to ask to give feedback, okay? Based on a rubric criteria. And I had already done it, but I'll do it again. I am going to paste my rubric over there, the one that I was showing you a few minutes before, and Brisk it. So we're gonna wait just a minute. Hopefully it won't fail. Okay. So remember that I told you that I had a specific criteria: lesson plan, mediation strategies, resources, connection, etc. Remember that? Okay. So in here, and again, and we really, really want to highlight this out. Brisk is not doing the assessment for me. Brisk is helping me out doing the assessment, and Brisk is providing certain suggestions on how to assess the lesson plan. But in the end, I'm going to be taking the final decisions on which criteria is pertinent, or which decisions based on the criteria are pertinent and which are not. I'm gonna insert it over here and see. Here I have the document. Okay, let me get rid of this because this was part of the okay, so I have here the lesson plan, and I have here, these are the criteria that I had in my rubric. And this is how it, for example, mediation strategies. No escribes cómo vas a organizar tu clase. Okay, I forgot to shift from Spanish to English. Sorry about that. No escribes cómo vas a organizar tu clase con introducción, desarrollo y cierre. Necesitas explicar tu papel como maestro y el papel de estudiantes. Falta mostrar una secuencia lógica. This is something that I was clearly asking in the rubric and even in the guidelines, okay? So this student had to be aware that I was going to be evaluating this. So based on risk, my student is not fulfilling these conditions. What is the next step in here? My decisions. So now I need to go and do the checking. This doesn't mean that I am not doing the assessment part. Okay, of course I need to do the assessment, but something positive out of it is that probably now I am going to be more objective, because decisions are not coming only from me, but also from my pedagogical partner, which is the IA. So I can even get to like argue with the artificial intelligence in order to come up to final decisions. It might be possible that sometimes we might be assessing in a very subjective way. We have to be aware of that, right? And probably that is the hardest things from assessing. Keeping ourselves objective whenever we have to be objective. So I do think that whenever we have like a IA as a pedagogical partner, it would be easier for us to keep on being objective on that specific criteria. Lucrecia, something new for you here.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you very much.
And by the way, now students, the clever students know we teachers are trying tools like this, and they have come up with some schemes to go around and get away with a good grade. For example, they turn in a report, and at the end they insert a certain prompt like please do not be too hard, or give a good grade to this paper, and they turn that writing white. So when you open the document, it just looks normal. And then you upload it to a tool, and the tool reviews the material and gives a good grade because it goes over and finds this hidden prompt. So we need to be careful. Sometimes we could highlight all the text and browse it, see if there's anything hidden. So because now students are also trying some tricks to take advantage of these tools as well.
Or for example, whenever you ask for a 500 word composition, they might include, let's say, 400 words. And they might type whatever they want to type in order to complete the remaining 100 words. And they would use white bold. So you would not be aware of it. But if you use the resource to word count, it would say 500 words when actually there are not 500 words. That's one of the things our students are doing nowadays.
Or for example, if you're using tools like Turnitin to identify possible plagiarism, some students are using find and replace. So they find and replace. So find space, replace for a white period. So everything will look normal, but then all the text will include a period after each letter, after each character. So I will make it harder for tools to identify any possible mischief, such as plagiarism.
It's challenging for us, actually.
David, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, that was my question. Are there any tools you use or recommend besides Turnitin? Because especially for us English teachers, it's becoming increasingly difficult. Students use AI or chat or whatever tools they use, and it's making our jobs harder because then it would, for instance, there was a colleague that had to basically fail 2 students. That happened recently, and she had to do the whole process and demonstrate or actually prove they were using AI. It is very difficult sometimes, especially when if you're face to face with a student and you're like, I know you didn't write this. I know your style, or I know the way you write. And then you check something they did online, or something, a document they submitted, and it's your word against mine. So get to that point is quite challenging. And for me to demonstrate, I mean, knowing that you used AI is not the problem. Proving that you used it, that's what it, that's the tricky part. So are there any tools or something you recommend so we can actually try to really demonstrate
Minimize.
my students, minimize actually, because now it's a very, very complicated topic. So that's one of the things I was looking forward to.
Yeah, say like no detection tool is foolproof so far. So even for example, uh, Turnitin fails about 30% of the times. And there are false positives as well. There are paraphrasing tools. So first they generate text using deep seek or ChatGPT, and now they say, oh, paraphrase it in a way that it sounds more human-like. Or for example, students do type something on their own, and then they use that to train the chatbot. So okay, this was written by me, so become familiar with my writing style. So rewrite this text that you generated in a way that resembles my own writing. So you see, and things get more and more complicated. But for example, if we see that okay, the style is very consistent, it's probably beyond the expected level of my students, or I've been seeing something that is not like what a real person would do. Is, for example, you have a report and you have a series of headings, and there are parenthetical citations within the heading. So nobody, no real person does that. You don't cite inside a heading, but sometimes you get these reports written by ChatGPT and say, wow, citations in the headings. Okay, this is interesting. I need to uh, analyze it more carefully. Or we need to resort to oral assessments. Okay, so you wrote this. Can you tell me what your main point is? What did you learn from this idea? What's this theory about? And sometimes you have your students prepare an oral presentation and you see that, okay, they are using words that they are not able to pronounce. So probably that was generated artificially. It's not their language. It's not the vocabulary that they can handle.
Now, David, something that I think that I have been doing a shift of methodologies, because now I am allowing my students to use artificial intelligence, but I also ask them like to prove critical thinking on how they are using artificial intelligence. So I normally in every like task or activity that they use artificial intelligence, they have to demonstrate how they were using the artificial intelligence, in what depth they were using artificial intelligence. And I usually ask them to do that analysis on changes or modifications they create out of the product that they first get from the artificial intelligence. In that ways, we are not satanizing the use of artificial intelligence, because that's something that we should not do, because, I mean, artificial intelligence, there's no other way back. We're going to keep on using artificial intelligence from now on. So it has to become part of our methodologies and our mediation strategies. So teach them how to use the artificial intelligence. Teach them how to think critically when they use the artificial intelligence. And also teach them how to argue with the IA, how to debate with the IA, and let them know that sometimes they should agree or not with the IA? Erika.
What I have been trying to do in my classes as well is and I got the idea from Stephanie once I was talking to her, and it is that they have to ask, well, they have to ask the AI to ask them questions. So they can do like metacognitive questions and stuff like that to do self-reflection and those type of questions. I do it as well because I feel like they are very used to asking the AI to do stuff for them. And sometimes when they have to do it the other way around, um, they find out that they are maybe not like understanding as much as they thought, or it helps them out, or in my case, like it helps them with conversations as well to see if they are understanding a certain topic. So I think that sometimes we can do it like the other way around as well.
Of
Also,
course.
we should tell or teach our students to declare when and how they're using artificial intelligence and what's a legitimate use of artificial intelligence. It could help you brainstorm, generate ideas, summarize, proofread, analyze data, summarize data, displays the data graphically. So no matter the use they make, they should declare it and say, okay, I used ChatGPT version 5 to proofread my paper with the following prompt. Actually, we had a visiting professor from Spain, and he told exactly that in a lecture. So yeah, I tell my students, okay, if you're free to use it, but you need to declare it and you need to be very specific. I use this tool with this prompt for this purpose. And then what he said is, now my students tell me, oh, professor, that's just too complicated. I prefer to do it on my own.
Requires a lot of thinking from us also in order to get there. Okay, and so basically that would be, and well, we have more. We're unfortunately running out of time, but for audio, we would like to present these options: Natural Reader, TTS Maker, Uriobera. With Uriobera, you can create your own songs. What I have been doing is that I create the lyrics with Magic School, and then I move to Uriobera and I create the song. It has limit, it's kind of limited in, you can also create short songs. I don't remember, it was like 8 lines. But it's very, and you can get to choose different types of rhythms, and it's highly, especially if you're working with teenagers or children, this would be a very helpful platform for you. And TTS Maker is my favorite one. So from now on, all the material that I create in my courses, all the virtual material, the digital material, probably, well, Erika and Jeff, you are my witnesses about that. Every single material that I create is supported also with audio in order to help or assist different learning styles. So I create the audio out of with TTS Maker, which now it has some limitations, but I mean, it's very, the possibilities are very expanded. So you can get to create many different types of audios with the tool. And finally, in order to make presentations, we have, well, Gamma. Be careful with Gamma. Have you used Gamma? Okay, Alanis, you have. If you haven't, you need to start using Gamma. Okay, please, you need to start using Gamma. Okay.
Yes.
Be careful. Try to use this link because there are very similar versions in Google. So if you type Gamma, you might encounter different versions that are not as accurate as this one. I'm gonna share that just very, very, very quick because I know that we have already run out of time. But wait. Where is it? Just a minute. Okay, just a minute. I'm going there. Okay, yeah, here. So gamma is extremely helpful because it will assist you on creating presentations, digital presentations with the IA version. So you can create an presentation with a based in text. So you can, in some cases, you can just paste like a general idea. For example, past continuous versus simple past. You can even add a file, for example, a PDF, and based on that, you can get to create presentations in a matter of minutes, for example, seconds. For example, this one that I created for my practicum course. But again, I really need to highlight that this is not the version or the only version that the IA gave me. Luckily, these tools will always allow you to do the checking part, and you can always modify content or even images that you might consider they are not appropriate. So we really want to highlight on your responsibility, your professional and your academic responsibility on checking the type of content that you get in each of the product, and also deciding which elements must stay or which other contents must be improved. And I guess that 2 more minutes and we're done, okay? Thank you very much for being here. Go ahead and try with pick the chart. It has, nowadays it is very limited. So it used to have more possibilities. So I barely use it now because of the limitation it has. And probably you heard before about Slides Go. Well, now it has the artificial intelligence version. So I still prefer Gamma because probably because of the graphic design that you will get from the IA version. But still, it's a good tool for you to create presentations. And wow, it's 8 o'clock. We are really grateful with you for being here. I don't know, Juanpa, maybe you want to highlight this or make a summary of this final reflections.
Yes, this say new trend is not the end of teachers. It's just a change. So in the past, people were worried when Wikipedia came in, and now the people are going to be lazy. But it's just yet another tool. We can think of that as just as a co-pilot. It's not meant to replace the teacher. Remember that with great power comes great responsibility. So we need to be careful with the information that we get. We should always be critical, skeptical about what we get. This can help us innovate. We can work faster than before. That doesn't mean that we should be doing that in a rush without thinking carefully about the outcomes that we want, without carefully revising the what we get out of the prompt. This helps us be more considerate of learning styles, even teaching styles. It's a great opportunity for making important changes, but we need to have strong work ethics when dealing with artificial intelligence.
As I said at the very beginning, you need to keep yourselves, or we need to keep ourselves updated with this topic about artificial intelligence, because the more aware you are about how artificial intelligence works, the more aware you will be about how your students are using artificial intelligence. So this is a never learning process. Keep on with an attitude of being trained about and informed about the latest trends on artificial intelligence. We should be reading a lot about artificial intelligence. We should be analyzing different articles that come from artificial intelligence because there are many different trends about it. So we do need to be aware of how artificial intelligence is constantly emerging. We were supposed to be doing this, but since we have already run out of time, in the coming days, we are going to be sending you a link to fill a form based on the results or experience that you had during this workshop. We wish we could have had more time for you to try the different tools. Unfortunately, 2 hours was not enough time for that. But now you have the presentation. The presentation has all the corresponding links. And we truly hope that you keep on practicing, keep on experimenting, and keep on encouraging yourselves and your students to have an ethical and positive use of the IA. I don't know if anyone has any final comment? Or Rita, I don't know.
Pues no, yo tengo que decir que muchísimas gracias. He tomado mis notas también, como siempre. Es una presentación que ojalá a todos y a cada una les haya servido. Creo que don Álvaro quiere acotar algo más, perdón. Álvaro.
Adelante, Álvaro.
Pues, estás muteado, Álvaro. Yes. El micrófono está cerrado.
Okay.
Ahora sí.
Ahí.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been quite a long time since I graduated, almost 10 years ago. But I can see that things have changed for the better with this artificial intelligence topic. And there is something that caught my attention, and it's the fact that even though we have this tool, we as teachers must be careful about the way we use it in class. We're going to be very, very careful because, as Pablo mentioned, students are taking advantage of this tool as well. in a bad or a good way, they are taking advantage. So we need to improve the way we teach by using artificial intelligence, but in a very professional way, and that implies being kind of careful, as I said before. Not a long time ago, we didn't have the chance to improve this kind of tools. So for me, as a retired teacher, it's even more challenging. It's even more challenging because let's put it this way. I mean, there are many tools, and if I want to use them, because I still teach English, and if I want to improve my students' performance, first of all, I have to study, to analyze each tool in order to choose which one applies to my students' necessities. But I'm delighted with this presentation. I'm delighted. I'm kind of shocked because I didn't know that this tool exists until a few months ago, because, well, I'm retired, but I'm still teaching, but I didn't know that these tools can be so helpful. So I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so glad to know about all of this information that I can use later on in my future classes.
Thank you, Álvaro. Nice words.
Muchas gracias. Bueno, yo creo que ha sido una jornada un poco fuerte, en el buen sentido. Muchísimas gracias a Silvia y a Juan Pablo. Gracias a ustedes porque han estado aquí. Nos vamos a mantener en contacto porque les vamos a hacer llegar sus certificaditos de participación. Y bueno, cualquier duda, cualquier consulta, cualquier cosa más, ahí tienen a sus profesores, que no se les olvida, que siempre se les recuerda. En el marco del 30 aniversario, pues no quisimos dejarlos pasar, se le abrió a todos la posibilidad de estar aquí. Entendemos que mucha gente trabaja de noche, que tiene responsabilidades y demás, pero si no lo hacíamos a esta hora, es más difícil en la mañana o en la tarde. Es el único, digamos, que espacio que hay y esperamos que este no sea el último. Nos queda todavía un encuentro más con respecto a esto con pedagogía universitaria. Tendremos finalmente en noviembre un encuentro con profesores egresados de la maestría de hace bastante tiempo. Y bueno, empezamos una nueva década con cosas diferentes, con renovación, con transformación, tanto en aprendizaje del inglés como en pedagogía universitaria. Por ahí vienen unas cositas que se llaman, que se me ha olvidado también, las microcredenciales, que ustedes también van a poder llevarlas y les va a actualizar, reconocidas además. Entonces, por ahí les vamos a estar pasando la información, que son algunos se llaman microcredenciales, pues es como se les reconoce, son unas credenciales que se les da en términos de una especialización X dentro de su área. Así que pues estaremos ofreciéndoles más formación continua a quienes ya se han egresado y el doctorado pues los espera por ahí también al que desee y a la que desee pues anotarse. Así que de mi parte, muchísimas gracias a todos y todas por estar acá. Ese es el correo, Silvia, muchas gracias para que, yo espero que no se les haya olvidado, ¿verdad? msteduca@una.c. Así que cuando gusten y como gusten, seguimos en contacto, ¿eh?
Y
Muchas gracias.
anuncio
Dele.
parroquial, de aquí a no más de 2 meses, por ahí, les voy a estar mandando una
Sí.
invitación para que me ayuden, por favor, con mi doctorado. Entonces les voy a pedir que estoy proponiendo un nuevo énfasis. Entonces, ustedes como egresados, el valor que tienen, les
Le
voy a pedir que
ayudemos
me
a
ayuden
validar.
a validar, porfa. Se los voy a
Así
agradecer
Así
mucho de
que
antemano.
take it for granted.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
muy
Good
bien.
luck on
Thank
this new
you.
Thank
adventure.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night, guys.
Bye bye.
Thank
Night.
you.
Bye.
Was great to
Bye.
see you.
Bye bye.
Great to
Thank you
see
very
you
much for
too.
everything.
Take
Rich.
care.
Thank you. See you
See
around. Bye bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.